We had the election and we began. They let us work conditionally, just a little bit. But trust me, they was on us like white on rice. We could not make no mistakes. There was no room for mistakes. Dr. King said, my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. To make a long story short, what does this plaque mean to me? It started with these sanitation workers. That's why the Lord told me, you did everything okay at the church. You didn't talk long. You met people. And I was so honored, the ones that came up and congratulated me. It wasn't easy work. It doesn't mean fame and fortune for me. But to God be all the glory. My eyes, at 62 years old, have seen change. In Georgia, across the nation, and in Cobb County. I too, as Fred Blankenship said, I give honor to being given this award when the first black president was going out of office. I seen that change. Now this is my synoptic gospel. I seen us bring Jesse Jackson here. I seen David Hankerson, county manager, sit at the community development block grant office all night long. I sat there by him. The smartest, I didn't know he was from Washington and an attorney on top of that. The smartest, second smartest black man that I met in Cobb County. Freely he wrote. He helped us, not asking for a penny. He did things. He knew how to put it on paper. He knew how to write it. He got our first NAACP office. First we started on Hunt Street, thanks to Winston Strickland. Then we moved over on Barnes Street. David was there all the time. When I tell you he stands for justice, I truly mean he is a man of justice. We went on, and the time came, we needed a person to run for the State House of Representatives. We had never had one in the history of Cobb County. We looked for a man, and I ended up having to have to run. Dover always pushed me. Dover said, Mary, you can do it. Mary, you can this. Then my house got shot into. So, yeah, some fear was behind me. I'm standing at this sanitation place where my oldest son works. He was one in the house behind the door that could have been dead. And my son, he masters that sanitation truck. I'm so proud to be standing here. It's like it ain't heaven, but it's almost like a heaven. This is what this means to me. Progress. My house was shot into. How you doing? My house was, oh, those are the workers. They know me. He said, Miss Gator, you're right. And you know what? It's good to make friends. And they tell me in the insurance business, Mary will stand on the side of the street. She'll go anywhere. The judge is going to tell me that. Back to the story. But God put a hedge around me. Not for me to be in charge, but to do where he was going to place people at to do the job. I ran for the State House of Representatives. And in between, right, my house got shot into, our house got shot into. Alan and I, who was married 29 years, was right there beside me. I give my family credit because sometimes I may have neglected them to do the work of civil rights. Yeah, I was out there. I was on the field. But today I'm standing in the glory. This is what it means to me. To see people work. To see Alicia Morgan go in as the first black state representative coming out of South Cobb County. To see Peggy up in East Cobb County go into office. To see Dora Hill go into office. Oh yeah, I got your history. God did a great thing. I give honor and credit and praise to one of the greatest politicians that I knew. They said he used the word nigger. But when I was out on that road, there was a great crowd of witnesses making sure I didn't get hurt. Joe McWilson was one of them. I would be the only black person there. Joe McWilson would stand up and tell him, shut up and let her talk. That's how he would say it too. Up in Smyrna, Red Oak, all the areas. I ran with a lot of great people. Irma Glover, Nancy Campbell, Melody Clayton. Judges, I'm sorry, I called y'all by your name. Tom Browning, who was always a master behind the picture. Roy Barnes, Steve Thompson, Harriet Smith. All of us was on the trail together. And if they didn't let me spit a watermelon seed, somebody being ugly, you hadn't seen that group rise up and say, let her do it. She's in the race too. It was so many that helped pave the way, that helped open doors. Betty Gray down in Mableton, Austell City Council, different ones, Woody Thompson. Then we went on, we got the first person in office as state representative. Then we needed those buses to come through Cobb County. And Rachel, you know, people would say, they use you. This is what this means to me today. Just a thank you, God. We got it done. They sent one of the first buses by Hensley Church of God in Christ in Austell. When that bus rolled in South Cobb County, East Cobb County, so that low-income people could get to work. That's what this meant for me. That's what it meant. When I met Mr. Ed Fields at the corner of Waddell and Lemon Street, Bob Hightower This is what this means to me. When Charles Spann came and thought it not robbery to speak to me today, this is what this means. I didn't know that he was a detective and all of the above, but he was another guardian angel that stood by me when I was out in the street and on the road. Yes, he was there. We set up some programs. We did some things, and then Fair Share came through. We signed. This is what this means. If you work in a bank, a financial institution, insurance place, anywhere that money filters through that will help a person, Cobb County sign that first Fair Share Economic Development contract with Vicki Westmore, Lee Partain, the board of directors of Georgia State Bank for the nation. We was honored at the 75th Diamond Jubilee Award as an unsung hero. Unsung is all right if you're not looking for glory and praise. A guy sent a message on Facebook and he said, they said that he heard that jealousy was a blessing. Now the Bible said jealousy is crueler than the grave. But good work is a blessing when you're not out self-seeking. This is what this means to me today. A thank you. When that financial agreement was signed all across the nation, banks, I didn't get a house, but banks gave home loans. Banks gave automobile loans, gave this, gave that to those who couldn't get it. I know it was the contract was wrote on Gordon Road down in Mableton, Georgia at the Burger King. And do you know that building can't go nowhere? They made that building everything, but God won't allow them to tear it down because it's a historic spot. So many. Then we had to change presidents. But we had to get a president in office for the NAACP, which would keep the work going. I was over the Fair Share Committee. When my house got shot into, working in banks and being over what we was trying to accomplish, I had to, Earl said, Shinholster, Mary, let Dr. Travis move in your spot and you just coach guys, be on the committee, be the co-tutor, which made a lot of sense. That Fair Share Agreement, this is what this means. Not my name, I'm talking about work. I told you Miss Hattie Wilson said, take that hat off, you're going to work. God has been good to us. God has opened doors for us. That's what this means. It's just a thank you. A thank you to, I came to the people that helped me to get it. My suit means nothing. These workers mean everything. When I was walking across the street, I was taking pictures of the police workers. That's another story. When I went to work with cops, there was no black police officers. Ulysses Musgrove was the first in Mableton. Carter was the first ever in the history of Cobb County. See, we gotta have the history. It said my people perish for the lack of knowledge. It's gotta be history that we gotta document, put down. Stay tuned for part 3.